So I had a couple of requests to do the off season for the Denver Broncos, and originally what I was going to do, because I wanted to revisit it at some point and do a second season for them, but not right now because I've got a Madden 08 season I want to conclude. I've got a NFL 2K4 one that I want to do, a Madden 2002 one, and plus some NBA ones as well. It's turning into vintage console sports gaming, not really vintage console gaming. But what I wanted to do with the second season with the Broncos was actually do the off season and just lead into it and have all that momentum. But there was a few requests, so I decided to go ahead and do it. We're in the retired players section right now. We saw Jerry Rice retire. Here's Warren Moon retiring as well. Warren Moon was one of the most underappreciated and influential quarterbacks in NFL history. Great quarterback. Jerry Rice, his resume speaks for himself. And I would have loved to have actually done a season with him. One of the last games of the regular season was against the 49ers, and I was thinking, wow, that would have been cool to actually do a 49ers season. If they had Steve Young still in there, I probably would have done a Madden 2001 season with Steve Young and Terrell Owens and Jerry Rice. But we also saw Reggie White retire as well. And what I noticed about this is all very structured. Like, you've got to advance through every single section and go through. I'm not too sure. I wasn't too sure at this stage of what my cap situation was, and there were a few players that I wanted to re-sign. Obviously, Chamberlain was one, fairly young player, and he bailed me out of a lot of situations, which is no small feat considering some of the passes that Greasy was throwing. One of the interesting things that I wanted to see as well, and disappointed me a lot, was the player development. I don't know what they look to, whether they look to stats, or clearly they don't look at stats, because Terrell Davis, his rating didn't go up at all. But Brian Greasy's went up six points. He was I believe he was a 77, and now he's rated an 83. So go figure, right? Maybe they take into account age, but Greasy is only 2 years younger than what Terrell Davis was, so I can't even use that as a reason. I don't know what to say. But you saw me re-sign Orlando Scary. That might seem a bit odd considering Terrell Davis and the season he just had. But the way I looked at it, Gary was a pretty reliable backup for me, and I don't know at what point is Terrell Davis going to get injured, or do I want to rest him, or whatever. Here you see me re-signing Brian Greasy. So all the bad things I said, and then I ended up signing him to a 5-year deal. There wasn't a whole lot of movement beyond that. I did let some offensive linemen go just because of their age and the money they were after. And I just figured that I've got a draft coming up, and I did just win the Super Bowl, so there's no real pressing needs. It's not like I need a quarterback or a lot of wide receivers, or even on the defensive end. There were some big defensive plays in the playoffs. During the regular season, they did sweet FA for me. But during the playoffs, there was huge defensive plays. In fact, the play that really sealed the Super Bowl was a pick on Kurt Warner as they were marching. It would have been interesting to see what would have happened had they had scored, if I was able to come back, because I was only up by, I think, 4 points at that point. So the defense was pretty solid for me, and it actually gave me a lot of flexibility during this free agency part, because I knew anyone that I didn't sign, either from my own team or even from the rest of the NFL players, I could just go and draft certain. I could fill those needs that would arise. So the free agency section or part wasn't really exciting. There were a couple of players that I wanted to get. When I saw Samari Roll, I just scrolled past him there. When I saw Samari Roll there, I was thinking, well, he's a young player. And I remembered him from the Madden 2005 franchise that I did, and he was pretty effective. So I tried to get him. Also tried to shore up some of those offensive lineman positions that I let go during my own free agency period. And not a whole lot happened, so I'll just skip through to the NFL draft here.
You need to get that and feel like you in the game playing for real. It's like what? It's like hut one, hut two, high who the champions, eat swinging big sights like hut one, hut two, high who putting it down, eat swinging big sights like hut one, hut two, high taking over, eat swinging big sights like hut one, hut two, high winning the game, eat swinging big sights. Only the realest survive the bone crushing. Got 'em sitting out for games. We get penalties when I snatch your frame. I spit darts, I hang my jersey up in your park, and that's for real. So what you wanna do? Hot rhymes, I'ma drop a few. I see you like a hospital. 'Cause when it's on, we don't talk like Phil Donahue. I'm the number one pick player. What you wanna do? My team got its own.
And now we're back and ready to advance into the NFL draft. So as you saw, I was unable to get Samari Roll, and I've got a bit of a need at corner because I wanted to get Samari Roll because I did allow far too many receptions, big play receptions. So I mean that's not just on the corners as well. I struggled getting pressure to the quarterback, and when I got to the quarterback, sometimes he's going to make a tackle. There was a play in the Super Bowl where Romanowski was right near Warner, and he just couldn't make a tackle. I don't even know what happened there. It was very strange. So I went with a corner early on, and I had a bit of a decision to make. It was strange just seeing all the ratings there. Kind of took it out of it, but I went with a corner with good acceleration because I got pretty good safeties. I don't really need great top end speed from my corners. I just need somebody with good foot speed to cover the slot receivers right now. And then beyond that, I was pretty happy because I picked up some good linemen in the free agency period, and I could just pretty much go and see who had the best ratings and sort of pick the best players available rather than any need positions. So I'm going to go ahead and accelerate the video a little bit, and I'm not too sure if there's a whole lot left after. I think it's just reordering the depth chart. Oh no, I've got to sign the rookies, which is pretty straightforward, and then I've got to reorder the depth chart. Alright, so the draft is completed, and yeah, we just got to sign the draft picks. As you can see, my cap room is not very high. I don't have a whole lot to work with here. Thankfully, they weren't asking for huge contracts, because I would have been in trouble there. I would have probably had to let Romanowski go and some other players that really didn't perform. They're getting a little bit older this stage of their careers, but I barely had enough. I was able to scrape it through. I guess this was an advantage of winning the Super Bowl. You had the last pick in the draft, so they weren't expecting huge contracts. But I think I drafted reasonably well. There's a couple of players in there that will get some minutes, especially the starting corner. I can't even think what his name was. But yeah, there'll be some players that will get some minutes, and not just in injury situations. I'm just talking about if everybody's healthy, there will be a significant part of the rotation. And then we go through to reordering the depth chart, and yeah, the offseason's complete. And at some point, I want to redo some of these, or not redo, but continue this franchise, because it was a bit of fun. But I've got to be realistic too. So there's probably about a 40% chance that I'm going to do it. The biggest issue that I've got that might prevent me. Here's a look at Terrell Davis's stats, which somehow his rating didn't improve from 91. Unbelievable. But the biggest thing that will prevent me from continuing this is some of you people don't know this. I'm actually immigrating to the US in a couple of months. Now you might think, what the hell does that have to do with Madden? Can't you just take the memory card? The thing is, my version of Madden, I'm pretty sure, is region locked to Australian and European consoles. And because of that, I'm not sure if the memory card itself is tied also, if it's recognized as a Madden 2001 EU/Australian game, or if it's just Madden 2001. I will give it a go. I'll take the memory card over with me, obviously. I'm not going to take the entire console over. but I will take the memory card over with me, and hopefully if I just get the US version of an old PlayStation with the US version of Madden 2001 and I put the memory card in, hopefully it will read it, but there's no guarantees with that kind of stuff. But anyway, I'm just going to let the video play out, and I hope you enjoyed this, and I hope you stick around for some more vintage console sports gaming. I should probably rename the channel, but I'm not going to, because I'm gonna be doing some Forza clips. I'm gonna be doing some Knights of the Old Republic. I'm gonna be doing other games as well. I want to do some Rainbow Six footage at some point, and if you have any requests, let me know. I especially like the games that I haven't played before, such as Madden 2001. So if you got some requests, just let me know, and if I haven't played them, that's, you know, I'll consider it. But thanks for watching, guys, and I look forward to catching you on the next series.
Madden 2001, yo, listen closely, kid. Before I have to sack you to the ground. Check it. Did you see that? It's real on the field, so believe that. This ain't two-hand touch, clown. Feel the pain, we bleed for a touchdown. And that's game. It's psycho, the klepto, the team is echo. I'll intercept, yo, pass, and do my dance when I score. When I score. Yeah, watch me score. Check it. Yo, when it comes to the competition, I got none. Don't worry about the opposition. I spot them, shake them off like dandruff and drop them. I'm the cat they call the slaughter raps and raw. Hardcore like this track, like a jock strap. MVPs, I got that. From Little League to two-hand touch, couldn't be touched. Now I'm all Madden and the ring is a plus. Got the players on the sideline hating too much, but as long as I keep ripping, it's all written. Hits are still hitting. Every time I score, I got your coach spitting, and that's a score. Madden 2001, yo, listen closely, kid. Before I have to sack you to the ground. Check it. Did you see that? It's real on the field, so believe that. This ain't two-hand touch, clown. Feel the pain, we bleed for a touchdown. And that's game. It's psycho, the klepto, the team is echo. I'll intercept, yo, pass, and do my dance when I score. When I score. Yeah, watch me score. Check it. Yo, when it comes to the competition, I got none. Don't worry about the opposition. I spot them, shake them off like dandruff and drop them. I'm the cat they call the slaughter raps and raw. Hardcore like this track, like a jock strap.